I'm Meg Morris, lead project manager at Natural Forces. All right, so thank you so much for having us here today. So we're here together, and we have another colleague in the audience here as well. I'll just maybe take a moment to introduce Natural Forces before we hop right into things. Hopefully we're somewhat familiar to you folks. We are a small independent power producer. We're based out of Halifax, so we're a little ways from home. Our business is to develop, construct, own, and operate wind, solar, and hydro projects. And we do this across Canada, and we do this in some sort of partnership. So in the last 10 or so years, the bulk of our partnerships have been with First Nations, and so that's actually the case of the project we're here to talk to today. So we're here to talk about our proposed Sukunka North Wind Energy Project. It's just outside of the actual district of Chetwynd, but it's quite close to you folks. It actually represents a bit of an expansion project to our existing 8 turbines that we operate, which are called the Zonnebeck Wind Energy Project and the Sukunka Wind Energy Project. So our goal here today is to make sure you folks are aware of the project, what we're proposing, and kind of open that line of communication and answer any questions, take feedback. We're here for anything you need. So here's a quick overview of the projects that we're proposing. The proponent for the project is a partnership between Natural Forces, who we're representing, and Saulteaux First Nations. It's approximately 10 kilometers south of town here, Chetwynd, and we're looking at up to 10 wind turbines, additional wind turbines to the 8 that we have there already. These days, wind turbine technology has advanced, and each turbine is about 7 megawatts, so it's looking at about 70 megawatts total. What else have we got here? We'd be connecting into the existing BC Hydro and project infrastructure that we built for the original projects that are now operational, and it's all located on provincial ground. So here's a map that just sort of shows the location of the project. So we're just south of Chetwynd along Highway 29, and west of Lone Prairie, and specifically south of Lone Prairie Road to kind of triangulate things. So this next slide shows the actual project layout that we're proposing. So you can see the blue lines there, those are the existing BC Hydro transmission lines. And then the green dots are the operational turbines that we have up there, with the white lines representing the existing access roads that we built for that project. Then you've got the yellow dots up to the just like north of those green locations. Those are the locations that we're proposing to build, alongside the brown lines being the access roads and the yellow lines being the proposed overhead collector lines. And so notably here is that there's 2 sort of access points that we could use, but we want to use the existing access point through the existing project off of Highway 29. So the next slide gives an overview of the work we have ongoing on site. So the only sort of physical thing we have on site is a meteorological tower, a 60-meter tower to measure the wind data. It's marked on the map on this slide with the green marker. Then we've got our environmental studies ongoing this year. We've got them listed there, but a lot of terrestrial and aquatic habitat and wildlife studies. Birds and bats are a big focus, as well as archaeology and these types of things. And then in addition to sort of the more human impacts, so sound and visual impacts, as well as socioeconomic, this sort of thing. And so our consultants are working to sort of gather all that information and put it together to sort of summarize the impacts of the project. Then some other work we have ongoing is consultation and engagement. It's listed here, and we have a slide for it, so I'll just put a pin in that one. And then we've got the studies ongoing with BC Hydro, as well as with our turbine manufacturers. We have our first iteration of our civil designs completed, but that will probably iterate many times. And we're also working on our transportation route study, so getting the large components to site So the next slide is the consultation engagement. So our approach to consultation is quite flexible. We want to be available to folks as they need it. So we kind of have our initial approach and we take feedback and we adapt based on that. Obviously we are based in Halifax, but we do travel out here quite often. We do have some folks locally who also participate in this work. But yeah, so the first sort of section of consultation is with the First Nations. This is a scope that we've had ongoing since the initial projects were under development. So we've continued those relationships and worked with them quite closely. And so we meet with them regularly. And then when we move into public information, public consultation and engagement, we sort of kicked this off this year with, we sent a newsletter out, as well as advertised locally for an information session. So we did host one in July at the library, and then we're hosting another one tomorrow, also at the library from 4 to 7 p.m. So the structure we like to do is kind of open house style. People can come and go as they please. We've got representatives from the company to answer questions. So yeah, the first one we had was medium attendance, I would say. So we're hoping we adapted our advertising plan and hopefully we'll get some more folks out tomorrow. Yeah, otherwise we're quite agile with our engagement. So we do individual meetings, calls, whatever people need, with community members, nearby landowners, land users, and tenure holders, and whoever else might be interested in our project. So we've had lots of meetings, lots of engagement that way as well. So here's an overview of the project timeline. Again, this is all very proposed. A lot of things have to fall into place for this to happen. But our goal is to wrap up our permitting and most of the development works by the end of next year, end of 2026. Which would allow us to potentially start construction in 2027. That would mean that turbine component deliveries would come in 27 and or 28, depending on when in the year we're able to start, and then potentially come online by the end of 2028. And then operational period would be 30 plus years after that. So in this process, one of the biggest local benefits is employment and contracting opportunities. So we do prioritize local businesses when we go through construction. We have those 2 projects that we already built, so we do have experience in the area and have made some contacts, and that's really positive. Our process is for the major contracts, we'll do a request for proposals. So that's for the civil works, foundations, that sort of contract. And then the smaller contracts tend to be a little bit less formal, but we do sort of seek out local companies for that work. So that would be like road maintenance, waste disposal, that sort of thing. But overall, during that construction period, at any given time, we anticipate that the project would create 20 to 100 full-time jobs. It's just seasonal variability, probably not doing a lot in the dead of winter. So. Yeah, so then onto our final slide here, just some quick project benefits. One of the big benefits is that this project is about the right size to power over 19,000 homes annually, and that would be through emission-free electricity that does improve energy security in the province and in the region. Of course, we already talked about it, but employment creation is a big benefit, especially during that construction period. Sort of development and operation does create some opportunity, but it is less. And then economic spin-off to these local businesses you folks have here. And then finally, there's some stability that projects like this offer to BC Hydro pricing, where these are long-term contracts that are sort of locked into a very predictable and locked in. So yeah. So that's all we have. Thank you so much for your time and attention, and we're happy to answer questions, take feedback.
Councillors, questions? Okay, with Councillor McDonald and Smith and then Nelson.
Thanks for your presentation, guys. I have a couple of questions. First and foremost, I want to thank you guys for looking locally for local contracting. I appreciate that. For your environmental studies, have you come across anything of note for your guys' new proposed location, and have you had any issues with your current operational sections, specific to the birds and bats?
Yeah, so I'll answer that in two parts. So birds and bats for the operational sites. So the way it works is, which you probably are familiar with, but so you do those initial development pre-construction studies, and then you also do post-construction studies where you're actually looking at mortality surveys. Basically, you're looking for carcasses, and so we did that for 2 years, and we were within the limits of the province sets for a reasonable amount of I guess mortality. Yeah, that's really good. It means that we've cited the project in a location where it's not like a migratory route or anything like that. Like, that's really important. And the other part of the question was about if we found anything for this. The studies are still underway, so I think it's like nothing has been brought to us as a red flag or anything like that, but ultimately our consultants will pull all that information together and have a good sense of it, but I don't so far know, but yeah, it'll all be summarized and put together.
Thank you. And when it comes to the transportation of the turbines, will you guys be making this public knowledge so people can see the material coming through town?
Yeah, for sure. This is something that we definitely want to engage and make sure people are very aware of, because it is one of the more, it's really cool on one side, but it's also can be disruptive to people's day-to-day lives. So for the short period that it happens. So this is definitely something we want to ensure people know about. And yeah, I think it's one of the things we want to collect feedback on how to get that information out to people effectively so that people know what's happening and when it's happening and stuff like that. So yeah, we've had some good luck with different communities need different things, and yeah, we've definitely keen to do that. So yeah.
Okay.
Councillor Smith.
I was just wondering, are all the people notified, like house by house in the Lone Prairie area, that this is a project that's going, just because it looks like it's edging closer to Lone Prairie Road as opposed to the other one?
Yeah, great question. Yes, in short, yes. Yeah, we've kind of tailored our approach to their needs. I know they have a couple of Facebook groups, so we've found people who are part of those that can advertise our events as well. And then yeah, we're just picking up the phone and calling people and making sure everyone knows. So yeah, it's been a real focus for sure.
Thank you.
Councillor Watson.
Well, thanks. Yeah, my question was really in line with Councillor Smith as well. Just if this project's going to be encroaching on any private land owners and how that looks, and if you're getting any pushback already.
Yeah, good question. Where this is entirely on provincial crown land, short answer is no, but long answer is that there's also overlapping interests on the land. So we're engaging directly with the tenure holders that overlap with us, and those are individuals and companies. And so some of those are like range tenures, so that would be local folks, and sort of the outfitters also use this area. So we engage with them directly, and we've been working with them. But in terms of private lands, there's nothing sort of immediately next to the site. Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I have a few. One of the first ones is recycle. We have the turbine, the blades that go around. Do you have your plan to put it in at the beginning of your plan so that we know every 2 or 3 years when they need to come out that where and what are we doing with them? That's just the one question that's, because we do live in a small community and we do have a landfill that is PRRD run. So if we fill up our landfill with stuff like that, then the access to our refuge, we have to look elsewhere or do other things. So this is one of the big things that we should look at, because they're very big, and if you're doing 10, now we have 18, right? So yeah. Do you have a plan for that?
I would say to start, and that the blades are designed to last the lifetime of the project, or at least I think they're designed for 20-25 years, and then that's where some replacements might have to happen. Then there's also the situations where damage happens and you have to replace a blade. So we have experienced some of that. And so at this stage, they are not recyclable in an easy way, I guess. So they do go to the landfills as of right now. So this is a really good question, and something that we can take away, I think, at this stage. I think in the long term, we can see companies popping up in other locations where they're seeing that this is an opportunity to figure out what to do with these blades. But short answer is that no, they're not. Currently, there's really no good opportunity to recycle the blades at this point. So yeah, we can take that away.
Okay, yeah, thanks for that. And the question is, being Crown land, is our provincial government, like all of us sitting here and in the audience, I live in Chetwynd and in BC, are we donating or giving grant money to the company that's, you know, are we assisting in
Short answer, no. So for the use of the Crown land, so we do pay. We lease the land for our project. So we pay an annual rent based on the size of the project. So there's that arrangement there. But in terms of any grants or anything like that, there's no provincial money coming into the project. Yeah.
Okay, you said rent. It's not a tax, so you'll be in the Peace River Regional District, right? Mm-hmm. That's some of the land that they tax on, right? So that they could do all the stuff, you know, take care of their infrastructure, right?
Yes, good point. We're also paying property tax on these projects, okay. So that would be the other piece as well, for okay. Sure. Yeah.
And one of the other I have is, if we decide that the letter and all that, and the environmental assessment that goes through, I'm sure you heard about the environmental assessment in BC, right? It's through the PRRD asking about the assessment, and we, as citizens, we've always been told that we need an environmental assessment through the province. Is that what you're going through right now, or is it just one that the company is going through, not the province? Because we've heard other things. I've heard other things through the PRRD.
Yeah, great question. We're at an interesting point in time with the environmental assessment process for wind projects. So to date, projects of this type of size would need to go through an environmental assessment process. So that is what we're planning on. Regulatory responsibility for wind projects is shifting right now, and the process is not mapped out in detail. So we are doing our studies based on sort of a combination of the previous process that we're sort of accustomed to, as well as so it's the BC Energy Regulator is taking over wind projects as well. So we are kind of in limbo where it's not exactly laid out for us, but we do anticipate submitting an environmental assessment type document to the regulator. Yeah.
The question stems from us being close to residents, right, and to waterways like the Sukunka, the Pine, and the Murray, all within, you know, shouting distance of where we're putting these up, and same in some other areas. So, you know, when we talk about environmental assessment, we want to know about the environment that's not going to be a hindrance to. And I know you've got some of the birds and the bats, right? But you have a pretty big footprint, you know, on the land itself, that we have to be able to be very aware that these places were where animals were going through, right? So, yeah, it's something that the province and yourselves and other wind farm places are going through here in the last, I think, 2 years. Mm-hmm. So it hasn't been very long where we didn't have to go through an assessment, environmental assessment. Mm-hmm. So anyway, good luck with that, and thanks for that. If there isn't any other questions, I know Halifax is a long ways away from Chetwynd, but we're all Canadian citizens, so appreciate you coming here and giving us what you have for all that we can, and public library tomorrow. So thank you for that, and we'll see you there tomorrow. Hopefully we'll get more citizens out, not only from Chetwynd, but from the PRRD area. Any other questions for Meg and Chris? Okay.
Thank you so much. Appreciate your time.
Oh, I see you got one other, you mentioned it.
Yeah. This is Maka. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay, bye. Okay, no bylaws, committee reports. I just would like to start off with, I did not get an opportunity to mention the second thing in my report last week. I said I have two things that came out of the health symposium in Prince George. The second item that I did mention was the gathering of nonprofit organizations in Chetwynd to just sit down and have a dinner. So I thought that was a great idea. So that would be the second thing. I just got sidetracked last week with what I had, and then I didn't mention the second thing. So anyway, and as for the PRRD, they're still looking into our radio and television, so we should hear a little bit more, probably, hopefully in a month. They're still looking at it and have the lawyers still looking at it. So once we get that, it'll be out to the public, and they'll come here, and they've told us that they're going to come meet with us and present. Personally, I'd like them to come and see the staff and make sure that the staff realizes and understands, and to invite the radio station, their board or their chair, to be involved. And that would be something that would be very important. And I was at the PCN meeting, and some of the good stuff that came out of there was we were looking at, we were talking about building I guess permits for construction, and they asked is Chetwynd not responsible, but looking into some of the seniors housing? That was what they asked. And it says anything to do with Northern Health would be a Northern Health thing, not a Chetwynd thing. So they were asking because our seniors are being put in the Chetwynd Hospital, for care, long-term care. So, and that's assisted care for 24 hours assisted care. So anyway, that was one thing that I thought came out of the PCM, Primary Care Network. And that's all I have. Is any other reports? Councilor Smith?
Oh, no, no.
I mean, McDonald?
I was rubbing my nose, sorry.
This is the 20th anniversary for the Chetwynd International Chainsaw Carving Championship. They are hosting a tournament of champions. This is when they're inviting back podium winners to compete, making it the best of the best, competing for the ultimate title. They've selected their carvers and are already sending out the invites. Planning for the event is in full swing, and there may be some small logistical changes. The volunteers are actively fundraising and applying for grants. This small but dedicated group of individuals pulls off such an amazing event every year, and this year is shaping up to be no different. I have encouraged the volunteers to come to be a delegation in the near future to share their planning. And the event will be held on June 11th to 14th.
Excellent. You good? Councilor Nelson?
I attended the Chetwynd Public Library Board meetings last week, and I don't know if anyone hasn't been in there recently, but the rest of the furniture is arriving. We've got quite a bit up there now, and it's looking pretty spectacular. So definitely invite people to go and have a look. Also met with the CEO of Northern Lights College here this last week. And actually our mayor brought up some really interesting project and conversation in terms of partnering with Northern Lights College and their trades programs and the district of Chetwynd to build some housing, maybe potentially multifamily projects. And it's a conversation that's getting started, and I think that there's a really great future for us to potentially build for our senior citizens and or skilled professionals that often come and don't have the housing available. So I look forward to more of that conversation. Thank you.
Just to follow up on a little bit of that, the president of Northern Lights College will give us a little bit more information once he puts it together. So we will ask him to bring a delegation once all those some of the details were brought forward by myself, and he will bring some back to us. Okay, thank you, Julie. Councilor Nelson. Any other reports? Go ahead, Councilor. Yeah.
I just have a question in regards to the non-profit organizations dinner. Is that taking place, or is that?
Not in our community, but we would like that to be one of our to target that as either in the new year or maybe sometime this year. But I find it, we hadn't had one. I was told that maybe we had something similar to that, but not quite at that level, I guess.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Okay, motion to accept reports.
So moved.
A second.
Vote on the motion. All those in favor? Okay, carried. Discussion items. Email from BC Council of Forest Industry, COFI, dated October 21st, 2025, and 2026 COFI Convention.
I'll make the motion that council authorize the mayor or alternate to attend the 2026 BC Council of Forest Industries Convention in Vancouver, BC, April 8 through 10, 2026.
A second.
Okay, any discussion?
I have a question. I just saw that it's basically free. Is that normal? Has that always been?
Yes, that's always been given to us as probably, I don't know about Prince George or any other, but it's always been given to us as a one free. Yeah.
Nice.
Were you going to do it?
No, I just wanted to point that out as well, because I didn't realize that myself, and I think it's brilliant, and it's going to save our taxpayers a few dollars.
Any other discussion? Okay. We'll have a vote on the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, email from Hope Air dated October 27th. Read support letter to the Minister of Health.
I'll make the recommendation that council support the letter from Hope Air to the Minister of Health, re the Hope Air's essential healthcare programs and services, and that the mayor be authorized to sign the letter on behalf of the district of Chetwynd.
Second.
Discussion. We'll go to staff and then we'll go to Councilor Smith.
Just to clarify, because this is a little bit unusual, they've supplied us with a letter that they would like to see, so we would format it onto our letterhead and then have his worship sign it. So that's what you'd be voting on, is if you approve the concept in principle as well as the letter they've supplied.
Councilor Smith.
Is this the air ambulance, or is this like the northern version of STARS? I just was unclear what this actually was.
I'll give you a good definition. So
Okay.
I think it's like a society that helps nonprofit or low-income people fund transportation to medical services.
Okay.
Yeah, there it is, and this is the same as what's on Google. It's Hope Air is Canada's national charity providing free travel and accommodation for patients and families in financial need who must travel long distances to receive medical care.
Oh, okay.
So it just helps people get to where they need treatment.
Okay. Another question. Do we know if anybody from Chetwynd's used Hope Bear?
Yes, from the last time that we were approached for support. I don't remember the exact numbers, but it was actually fairly significant. There's been more than one.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay. Vote on the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Correspondence. A letter from the Union of BC Municipalities dated October 22nd, 2025, read provincial response to the 2024 resolution.
Motion to receive.
Second.
All those in favor?
I think we should.
Go to discussion.
I think it's important to have a conversation about this, just because there's actually quite a long response from the Minister of Forest, and when we met in Victoria, he spoke to us as well, saying, actually, I think that we've done well enough, but the NIFAC has been something that we've been really fighting for. However, it does seem when we went to the new NIFAC base, despite the fact they don't really have the accommodation that they used to offer, they really do seem quite set up, and it really does seem that although the fight that we've had towards getting this reinstated isn't exactly like we visualized, it really does look pretty good, and it really does feel like they did listen, in my opinion.
Yep. Any others? I guess I do have one. It says, when Chetwynd and the surrounding area has the idea, and if in the future, because we talk about safety, and if safety is one of the big things that we have, and it would just take one incident where if we had the NIFAC, we would be here and get it done within probably 15 minutes. And if we had a forward attack team that has to come from somewhere, if they're not in the area, which we were lucky at in 2024 that they were in the area. So this is the difference. I agree with some of the setup, but I don't agree with the principle of it being a forward attack and not an initial attack team. So to me, we still, if we agree to it, we're agreeing to forward attack rather than an initial attack team. Maybe it's what we got now, and that's what we have to say that's what we got. But as for myself, as citizen and as sitting mayor, I disagree. But this is what we got. It's better than having nobody on site, but it might come back and say that we should have had an initial attack team to prevent one incident, right? So maybe it might not happen, and I hope it doesn't happen. So anyway, that's my view.
Sorry, I just want to add into that.
Go ahead, Councilor McDonald.
Just in addition to that too, it's just the after proper community engagement as well prior to these decisions being made. A lot of that conversation could have happened before the decision was made. And I feel like it's just gonna like a long back after the fact for us as well.
Okay, any others? Okay, do we have a motion?
Yes.
Or is it just, okay, to
Motion.
receive, right, and we discussed it, so, anyway, we have a motion, vote on the motion, accept? Any opposed?
It was a motion to receive.
There's a motion received, yeah, it's just a motion, just so one.
Yeah, we just discussed it, that's all. Okay. Email for Minerals North Conference Association dated October 24th, 2025. Read 2026 Mineral North Conference and Trade Show.
Motion received.
Second.
Motion to receive, all those in favor, opposed, okay. Information items, I-1 to I-7, Council, do you see any that you'd want to pull?
Motion to receive CI 1 through 7.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor? Okay. Reports for action. Contribution summary, donation box at the Sandy Dump Station.
I'll make a motion that council authorize administration to distribute $2,011.65, which is the total of contributions collected from the donation box at the Sandy Dump Station in 2025 as follows: $670.55 to the Shriners Club and $1,341.10 to the Little Prairie Heritage Museum.
Second.
Any discussion on it? Okay, vote on the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Okay, RA2, 2026 Business Facade Improvement Program grant.
I'll make the motion that council approve the application to NDIT for the facade improvement program for 2026.
I'll second.
Any discussion on it? Okay. Councilor McDonald and Councilor Work.
Did all 4 applications from the previous year complete their project?
No, there's one outstanding, as far as I know, it's the dollar store, and as of, I think it's full 2 weeks ago now, he said the sign was finally in, and he was scheduling it to a contractor to get it erected, so it'll be kind of based on the contractor's schedule, but it should be done. He wants it done as much as anybody, so I'm sure it'll get up there pretty quick.
Perfect, thank you.
Councilor Work.
Would we consider putting a timeline on completion of projects when we choose to, select these people for the grants? And specifically, I am talking about the one that still isn't done. I think it's been well over a month since I inquired about this. And I mean, it's only fair to people who may have missed out on the grant that, if they worked differently, may have been able to complete their property frontage.
Well, short version of that is there is a timeline on the grants. It's in the calendar year, so he has to get it done or he doesn't get the $5,000. Some things like for a sign, it goes to a designer and then it gets supplied, and there was tariffs, and then it comes in, and then you had to find a contractor to put it up, and he's been on it. And the same businessman is, he's invested a lot of money into the community this year, so I think his intentions are good. I know there were some frustrations in town, but Wynn took it down and he's repairing it as quick as he can. It's not going to be outstanding for excessive length of time, but he's been working on it since it was destroyed by the windstorm in the spring, and he's showing progress. He was working on it before he got the facade grant, so he knows it's not good for business either. It looks ratty, but there is, to the original question, there is a timeline because it has to be done in the calendar year.
In the calendar year.
Yeah, or you don't get the grant.
Thank you.
Any other discussion items? Okay, vote on the motion. All those in favor? Okay, carried. Okay, RA3, signing authority. Finance.
Okay, I'll make a motion that council, the District of Chetwynd, authorizes the following individuals to have signing authority for the district's bank accounts: Stephen McLean, CAO; Kevin Franson, Director of Financial Administration; Deanne Ennis, Corporate Officer; Stacy Waitman, Director of Engineering and Public Works.
Second.
Any discussion? Okay. Vote on the motion. All those in favor? Carried. Reports for information, September accounts payable checklist.
I'll make the motion that the check register for the month of September 2025 totaling $2,331,478.71 be received.
Second.
Any question, discussion? Councillor Smith?
I know I should probably know the answer, but what was $1 million for again?
Who do we rate it to?
Northern
I hope you
Legendary.
know.
Yeah, there it is.
Northern Legendary Construction. See? Okay, it's not just me.
Which one is that?
What number?
It was like the
Yeah.
third one down on the list. Oh, no, sorry, not third one. Second page, third one.
Second page, third one down.
September 12th.
The sewer
I'm guessing it's.
station?
I was like, what is that?
I recall that we had Northern Legendary do the pump station,
Yeah.
where we got that huge grant.
Yeah, I believe it's the sewer lift station that they're redoing this year, so.
Okay.
And that was, some was through grant?
Yeah, I think the total project is right around $2 million, and we got about $1.8 million in grant funding on that, so.
Councillor Smith?
Yep, okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, vote on the motion. Okay, Fire Smart. RI2.
Motion to receive.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor?
Sorry, I got
A question too. Sure, it'll be the same.
Just a point of order, when we receive one for information, do we have discussion on it, or is it just received for information?
Oh,
Can we
absolutely,
discuss-
you could discuss it, absolutely,
Okay,
yeah.
so- Okay,
Well, I just want to say thank you, because I was the one who put in the request for this information, and that's, I think, it's very valuable information for the community. So thank you very much for putting it up.
Well, I'm glad you approved, thank you.
Councillor Smith?
I just have a question. Do we have any plan for any more fire mitigation for the 2026 year?
Yes, we do. I'm not sure off the top of my head, I forgot to ask Ellen about that, but we generally go ahead 2 or 3 years by priority.
Okay.
And then we also do the prescription tree removal. So I know next year, part of it will be back down in the gully behind Crown Sub, because that's been ongoing. So some of the beaver control, where the beavers have dropped trees and left them, that kind of stuff will be in the Crown. But there will probably be more as it's identified. And then we always leave some back for if residents have a concern. So this year we did some prescription tree removal in 2 of the lots we own, for instance, that had trees that were you know, a lot of underbrush and a lot of fire hazards. So we try to do that fire mitigation in town as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, Councillor Deck.
Is there anything from the provincial government that's looking at the surrounding areas? Banff would be a prime example where the wind always comes from the west, similar to here. If we're going to be looking at anything from the west, or from the west side of town.
That's part of the reason we're a little short on plans right now, is because we're waiting on the province for their boundary stuff. They have a bunch of studies they've been doing and some mitigation control measures that they're supposed to be providing to us in a report. Having that park expand as drastically as it did was a huge concern when that happened. I was actually phoning the province on that, because provincial parks have a different methodology for fighting fire than non-provincial parks. But they have assured us that that's not going to be the case for the area near Chetwynd, because it's near a community. So there's all that. There's a lot of factors that play into it. We're like, as part of this provincial study, we're dealing with Westmoreland First Nation, Soto First Nations, Peace River Regional District, and making sure it's, you know, we're meeting everyone's needs. And even things like our Little Prairie Community Forest, in the board meeting, we talk a lot about mitigation strategies for wildfire. So a lot of our cut blocks and how we remove waste wood debris is to help provide a buffer for the community from the north, where we've had, 3 fires in the last 5 years or so that were threatening our community with, you know, Battleship and the ones up by Williston there. So I think we're doing really well. We could always use more money and we could always do better, but for what we have and for the number of partners we have, I think we're getting some good movement here. It's not a lot of just sitting on our hands. There's people actually in the trees that are doing mitigation work, which is really heartening.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Well, I guess one of the mitigation things is having only one existing sawmill that does take some of the debris from cut logs and use the cogen plant, meaning to burn so that they could generate electricity, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, that, and we've been on with the Minister of Forestry for them to continue to operate in our community and in our area. So anyway, that's one of the good points that we need to bring up with them, that, you know, this helps out everybody in the surrounding area, including Chetwynd. Okay. All right. To accept, we got a motion? Right?
Yep.
Vice Mayor? Okay, all those in favor? Okay, carried. No new business. At this time, I would like to give the public to have any questions on any of the items that was presented today on our agenda. State your name and address.
Katie Mercer at 4569 South Access Road. This is not in terms of what has happened today, in terms of what has been discussed, but I just want to thank each and every one of you for the opportunity to work alongside you and the community for the last 2.5 years. I have been effectively laid off from PSFM and Chet TV. So going forward, any and all live streaming will be held by Ray. And TV side and event side, I recommend that you go and turn to Angela for any of that. However, going forward, we won't be exactly covering due to the fact that I was the last TV producer and TV production. So thank you so much.
And thank you for your service.
Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate it. Okay. All right, adjourned.
Motion to adjourn. Second.
What was that?